Greetings, welcome to another episode of Man Cave Meals. Today we're going to get started on part 2 of our Kamado Joe review with a low and slow cook of 2 7-pound Boston butts. So let's get started. The first thing I've done here, I have arranged 6 1/4 pounds of lump charcoal, and we're actually using the Kamado Joe lump. I'm going to put a Weber starter cube down in the middle of that and light it up and let it get going there, and then I'm going to move a piece or two of lump right over the top of the flame. We're going to let that come up for 10 minutes or so before we close the grill down. Okay, now that we've got our charcoal lit kind of slowly here, I'm going to place a few chunks of beech wood and apple wood over the tops of the charcoal. I'm just going to spread it around, get some around everywhere, and get a little bit of smoke going. And then we're going to place our indirect cooking stone right on top there. I've got the bottom screen pulled over the air vent on the lower side. I'm going to close the lid and open the top daisy wheel vent where it's fully open. The slider is going to be closed completely and the daisy wheel vent is going to be completely open. From here I'm going to let the grill come up to about 200 degrees before I start adjusting the vent. Okay, our Kamado's warmed up. Got some good smoke going here. We're going to get these butts on and get the thermometer in them. Don't have one right there and one more here, and I'm going to get my meat probe. Let's find the bone here. We're going to get this probe right down in the middle of the meat like that, and we're going to shoot for 225 degrees overall. So we'll get this guy warmed up, get it up to temp, and then we'll come back and have a look at our temperatures. Okay, we're about an hour and 10 minutes into the cook here. I've got my digital probe here. The oven temp's reading 229. The meat temp is reading 80 degrees. The temperature is fairly stabilized here after about an hour and 10 minutes. I'm not moving the vents anymore. We're going to check it periodically, but I shouldn't have to make too many more vent adjustments. This oven's reading 229 here, 230, and on the dome thermometer I'm reading about 240, so there's only about a 10 degree variation there at the moment, and that may stabilize out some more. My vent openings, I have the top vent, the big vent completely closed and the fine-tuning vent fully open, and down on the bottom I have the screen open about an inch. So from here on out I probably won't be moving the bottom vent at all. We'll leave it where it is, and if we have to make any adjustments, we'll adjust by using the fine-tuning on the top vent. So we'll let this cook go. Like I said, we're about an hour into it, an hour and 10 minutes or so. We'll come back at about the 3-hour mark and have a look and see where our temperatures are. We're at about the 3-hour mark here, and my Kamado temperature's holding there at 233. The meat's up to 136, and 233 I'm reading about 220 or so on the dome. The only vent, I've made another little vent adjustment. I have closed up the daisy wheel just a little bit. My temperature did start to creep up a little after we looked at it at the last setting. I have not adjusted the bottom vent, so everything's going very smoothly here. So we'll keep right on going, and watch this. The dome thermometer here is fairly accurate. Like I said, it's reading about 220. It's 10 degrees, still 10 degrees or so off, but now it's about 10 degrees under where we were. Everything's running smoothly, and like I said, we're at the 3-hour mark. We'll come back and have another look at let's say the 7-hour mark, and see where we are at that point. We are 7 hours and 25 minutes into this cook. I'm holding steady still at the 230 mark. Our meat temperature's at 162, so it's kind of in the stall phase here. It's got quite a bit of time left to go. I have not tweaked the bottom vent. Top vent, I've tweaked just a little bit here and there. Nothing major. I've bumped it about twice. We've got a little bit of wind, and as the temperature's changing, the outside air here is cooling off drastically. And this guy's reading about 210, 212, maybe 215 there. And like I said, it fluctuates a little bit from the digital thermometer, but that's to be expected, especially with the breeze that we're having. So everything's run incredibly smooth here with this grill. I'm totally stoked with it so far, and I probably will come back and we'll have a look at it again about the time my butt that I have the temperature probe in hits about 192 or so we can start looking at the temperature with the thermopin. So we'll be back then. Okay, we're about 13 hours into this cook now. About an hour ago my temperature started dropping, and I was opening the vents up and couldn't bring the temperature back up. So I thought maybe my fire was going out or I had run out of charcoal, but I haven't run out of charcoal. I opened up the grill and took the meat rack out and took the diffuser stone out as well, and had to agitate the charcoal. We had a ash collection in the bottom of the Kamado that had most of the air holes in that charcoal grate plugged up, so that's put us on a little bit of a delay here. My meat lost a little bit of temperature being out of the grill for 5 minutes or so in this 30-degree weather, so I'm working on bringing it back up. This cook's run a little longer than I expected. Everything else has gone real well though. This grill did hold temperatures very well up until the point we lost our airflow, so that's an item that's going to take a little work. So we'll be back a little bit later when this cook finishes up. Okay, we've got one butt ready to come off. The one on the right here is done, and the one on the left has got a little bit more time to go, so we're going to wrap this cook up. Everything has gone smoothly except for the one instance of the charcoal grate getting stopped up. But other than that, this thing held its temperature without any help at all, hardly. So we'll wrap this cook up, and when I shut the grill down, I'll weigh the leftover charcoal, and if you'll check the video description, I'll have some information in there about how much charcoal we consumed during this cook. So until next time, the Man Cave Meals.